various examples we'll be doing, you may have to create various queues and various topics. So please create accordingly, basing on the need. Okay. Now, since we have a couple of resources created, let's go ahead and look at what all is needed when for configuring like JMS. Let's say I'm creating a new project, and JMS consume, well, I would say produce JMSQ. Let's just call it JMSQ. Okay. And then, like I was mentioning the other day, we get since we get like empty projects, and in OSB, and one other thing I'm going to recommend is that don't let's say if you have some working example, then just don't like try changing that example to in order to just to test out another scenario. Okay, please keep since it is pretty easy and quick to kind of create these services, create like independent projects. You may have as many projects, and then that way you always have the working examples, simple working examples, and little advanced and stuff. And that way we are not just starting with one simple example and using the same example to try out all the other scenarios. And then it's also a good idea to have something like a template project like this with all the empty folders, and then you can just select all these, copy, and now this is a project I created, right? Just paste it. So again, you just have the folders there. And let's say if you're working with common artifacts or something for these examples, you can just throw them in the XSD folder here, and they'll be readily available there. Okay. So now let's say we have a queue, and we are trying to put messages into the queue, like produce a message for a queue, right? So producing, since JMS works like inbound for proxy services, that is like consuming, so we'll be creating a business service in order to handle that scenario. So you go to business, and then get a business service, produce hello message service. Okay, so the type of service we pick here, is a messaging service. Okay, and then if it is let's say if the business service is just like producing in a message, then that is like a one-way invocation. So for the request message type, to keep it simple, let's say we pick text, and response is still none. And then you go to transport, and then here you'll JMS protocol is available when you pick the service type as messaging. Okay, and then see the URL is the combination of it's the protocol is JMS, and then the host port will be localhost and whatever the port is, and then it's the then what follows after that, yeah, is the either the JNDI name of the connection factory you may have, or if not, you can just leave it like this, like WebLogic JMS XA connection factory. Okay, and then a slash, and then the JNDI name of the resource that you are working with. Okay, so in our case, we can remove this and just do like JMS dot. Does anyone remember what did we have? Let's say my queue, right? So you do JMS dot queue, and then you do add. Okay, so that's the end URI for accessing that resource, and then it's a queue and message type We will say text response gives none, and everything else you can leave the default, and there is nothing in a message handling. So this is a business service, right? So we have this. We can quickly go here and do the publish. Go ahead. Could you please explain this entire part once again? I think this is a little fast for me. Okay. Right from creating the business, they'll be selecting the message. Okay. What services from that? Yeah. Okay. So what we are trying to do here is like create a service which is producing. We want to add messages to a queue. Okay. In order to do that, what we will be creating is a business service, not a proxy service. Okay, because business service will work. Will be able to produce, and proxy will be a consumer. And now that's step one. And then the step two is the type of service. Okay, since we need our endpoint would be the queue. We need to work with jms protocol. If you pick the messaging service type as the type of service, then the jms protocol is available for you. Okay. And then in the messaging, since we are just producing a message, there is only message going one way. There is nothing coming back. Okay, that's why for the request message type you pick text, and there is nothing that need to be picked for response message type. And then from a transport perspective, here for protocol, we pick JMS, and now we need to put together a URI in order to be able to get to that queue, right? So the format of the URI is the fully qualified server name, which would be host and port, and followed by the connection, the JNDI name for the connection factory. Okay, that will be used in order to create connections to get to the JMS provider, and then followed by the JNDI name of the resource itself. It's a combination of these three things, and we use that for creating the endpoint. So in our case, see JMS localhost. Well, one other thing. I need to. My port is not 7001, it's 23501. Okay. And then, like I said, for the connection factory, what we have as default, you can leave this as it is. Okay. And then the resource that we want to produce the message for is a queue, and this is the JNDI name for that, right? So here we have created the endpoint URI. On this page, that's the only thing required thing that we need to configure, and then we are moving to the next step, JMS transport. So here, yeah, go ahead. So the connection factor that we created in our WebLogic console, like MyCF1 that you created, that we want to use over here. Yeah, that we can use too. I want to use that in another scenario, but what I also meant to use is like we can also use the default just like it as it is. So using that one and using the default one is one and the same, is it? Yeah, it's one and the same. Okay. I mean, see, sometimes there are like specific connection factories like created out so that for let's say you have on one server, there could be like various queues and topics created for various application modules, right? Then customarily, the one could have also created like various connection factories, because they are the settings on the connection factories could be different. Okay. And then let's say if you just want to use those connection factories, then you can directly use them by putting their JNA name here.